Welcome to day 4. I hope that day 1 through 3 have been eye-opening so far and that you've been able to take the actions because I'm sure you're seeing by now that each piece builds like I told you it would, right? And day 4 is no different. So as we are working through these, I want to hear what it is sparking in you because I'm sure you've had some mean thoughts towards yourselves as well as good thoughts. And you should share this. We should be in community encouraging one another because you are not the only person having those thoughts. Okay? Definitely not. And if you feel like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, break it down. I want you to break it down and I want you to see those little wins. Did you at least think about what might bring you joy or what you might want to do with your time if you had time? Did you at least give it some thought? Did you at least come up with why you want to do this? Even if you haven't taken the step of actually taking the me time, even thinking about it and committing to yourself that you are going to find a way to do this is a win. And I want you to know that. Every single step of the way, every little bit that you do is a win. And if you need to break it down even more, because I did leave it pretty high level, if you need to break it down, please do. And if you need help doing that, please reach out because I'm here to support you every step of the way. And I'm committed to that. I told you that, and I'm a woman of my word. So if you need to break things down, for example, I'm going to do an analogy here. If I'm going to clean my kitchen, which is a mess right now, it is so overwhelming to think about going from where it is now to a clean kitchen. But if I thought about cleaning one drawer today, or setting the timer for 15 minutes and cleaning what I can in that one drawer, that is much less overwhelming, totally doable, focused, and I'm going to get it done. I want you to think of it that way too. If we need to break these down into smaller chunks, please do so. And like I said, if you need help doing that, please reach out. Okay. Because, like I said, this all builds and we want you to have this progression. So please don't skip around. If you need to go listen and dwell on one of the previous days, absolutely. Please feel free. Please feel free. I'd rather you do that than try to skip ahead and jump forward and then just be overwhelmed and lost and quit. Okay? So please promise me that you are going to do that. But if I recap where we've been, day 1 was vision and purpose. Vision for what I want for you, having you set the vision for what you want for yourself. Day 2 was finding your joys, finding your time, thinking about yourself, myself, because that matters. And I need you to really believe that you matter. Day 3 was getting rid of some of those excuses that you're going to have. And I know you have them. I don't have time. Um, I don't uh, have the money to go do the thing. I don't have whatever it might be. What is your excuse? I'm curious to hear it. So if you want to share it, I'd love to hear it. All these things. Share, share, share. Everybody is here to help you. Let others help you. It takes a village. Forget this American independence thing where people think every parent should be able to do this on their own and do all the things for their child on their own. I think that's dumb. We're meant to live in a village. We're meant to be in community. Let others help you. I hope you hear that. I hope you hear that because no parent is perfect. No parent should have to do it on their own because there are things that we can help each other with. And it makes the burden so much lighter and so much more joyful, this journey of parenthood. Okay, let's dive into day 4 items because we have recapped all of that. Okay, because we have gotten to the point where we're stopping some of the excuses and getting yourself on board with what you want to do, right? But you're also not the only person. You are a mama, you have a family. And so today is all about how do we get your family on board? How do we get your loved ones on board? So let's talk about that. I'm going to talk about two ideas today. And I know we might need to break this down a little bit too, because there's some big ideas. And you might not do both of these today, but I want you to start thinking about when you would do them and how you would do it, because it is not a one size fits all thing. I want you to think about what would fit for your family. Okay. So if you were part of the summit, you've heard me talk about this before, these topics. And so if you want to revisit it, it is on my YouTube channel under the Whole Wellness Mamas Summit Talk. But the first thing is family meeting. I love the idea. It works well for us. Family meeting for us is once a week where we talk about our calendar. That is the big part of it. But we do like to start with appreciations, which kind of sets this tone of appreciation for other people and the things that they do and acknowledging that. It could be small, it could be big, it could be funny, it could be like something that just happened 5 minutes ago. It doesn't matter. But this is kind of like the mindset of looking for joys and seeing the joys, right? When you start seeing things that you appreciate about other people, that sets the tone differently. It makes you see things differently. It makes you appreciate, it gives you gratitude. It's a different perspective that you are putting there, and it helps people look for those appreciations even more. So we like opening with that. And then the big thing is calendar. Calendar of all the things that are commitments for your family that you just can't miss, right? Everybody needs to be on the same page with what's going on that week and know. And if you have a calendar, I highly recommend having a family calendar where everybody can access it. And if they need to edit it, they can. So I have my One Thrive board, and I should show you that. But I know you've seen it in the day one video also. That is where all of our things go. It's not super detailed. Our details are elsewhere in our like digital calendar, but it has the high level ideas. And so the commitments for that week, like Japanese school or, bento lunch is going on this day, those kinds of things that we need to remember happen on certain days, or maybe it's a birthday party or different commitments, right? Or maybe I'm going rock climbing. So I'm going to tell my parent or my family, Saturday I'm going rock climbing. All these things go on the calendar so everybody knows. And if there are conflicts, we talked about planning and scheduling and finding those efficiencies, right? This goes for the family as well. And so people can say, oh, I forgot to tell you that I'm going into work that day when it's not usually a go into work day, or it's a minimum day at school, or whatever it might be that people might not know. It's a good time to bring it up and talk about, put it on the calendar, and make sure there's no conflicts. If there are, figure those out of who's doing what and what needs to be done to prepare for some of those commitments. This is a fabulous time to talk about it for everyone. And you're also giving kids planning skills as you're talking about it, right? So it's just a win-win all around. And then any things that need to get done, that doesn't need to be on the schedule, but if there are certain things that need to be done that week, like a project or like for the summit, things are busy. And so I told them I'm going to be very, very occupied. Things of that nature, you can jot those down, or you can even have like a grocery list or whatever it is that you want to keep with this family meeting to talk about. Or maybe some things came up at school, some issues at school that you need to talk about, or some issues at home that, need to be resolved or talked about. Whatever those might be, again, perfect time to talk about all these things as a family. And if you are trying to incorporate more me time or want to talk about your vision for your family or those kinds of things, it's a perfect time. And then as you're scheduling things out, tell them, I want me time. It looks like we have time here. I would like some uninterrupted time here. Can we do that? That's one of the things to talk about and one of the things to schedule in. So do it. This is a way to get everybody on board and on the same page with the schedule and the calendar and what values your family has and how you spend your time. Another thing that you can bring up is the second thing I want to talk about. So one-on-one times. This is something you should put on the calendar as well because it is so important and we should prioritize it. By one-on-one times, I mean one child in your case, I think, and you. So just one person, one person. And this is uninterrupted time together. And if it is a child, you are letting them pick the activity. You set the boundaries like no screens or we're not paying money to go somewhere, whatever your boundary is, pick that for your family. And within that boundary, your child should be able to pick an activity that they want to do with you, and you put away all the distractions. So if it is the time you know that you're expecting a call or a repairman or whatever it might be, don't do it at that time. Okay. Make sure it is uninterrupted time because you can start with 10 minutes. Tell me you have 10 minutes for your child to just enjoy them, to have fun with them, to do what they want to do, to be in their world. Now, this is an investment in your relationship as well as later in your day or perhaps even the week, because then they're not seeking the attention. They've gotten your attention, they feel more filled. You might see them acting up less. You might see a lot of different benefits coming from this. So I highly encourage you start this as soon as possible. If you can't start the 10 minutes today, just pick your person. Make that your action for today. Pick the first person you are going to do this with if you have multiple children and think about when that might work and even talk to them about it. Talk to them about, I'm thinking about wanting to do this one-on-one time with everyone, one at a time. And when do you think would be a good time? Or what do you think you might want to do? Just start planting that seed. And then the next step is to put that time, mark it, and actually do it, right? So if you need to break it down, break it down. But this needs to become a part of your days. And if it sounds crazy to you to try to do, like if you have 10 kids, right? It is going to be really, really overwhelming to do 10 one-on-one times in a day, even if it's 10 minutes. Space it out. It's okay. It's okay. Do what works for you, but I think you're going to love it. So once you do it, I think both your child and you are going to love it. You're going to look forward to this time. Some people might ask for this time. I mean, I guess it depends how old your children are. If they're older, then it might look different. It might look different, but I encourage you and challenge you to find that time, even if they say, I don't really want to do it. If you just want to sit with them while they do something, that's okay too. Just ask if it's okay for you to just sit there with them. Be creative, figure it out. You're a problem solver. I trust that you can do it. And I also want to say, don't forget your spouse because they need time too. Now, you might not need to say, okay, you pick the activity, but it might be maybe like one time you pick, one time they pick. It's important to cultivate that relationship too, right? It might be easy to focus on your kids, especially if they're little, and all your attention goes there from both of you. But remember, your partner needs that attention also. And you deserve that attention from them also on a one-on-one basis where it's uninterrupted. It's really important. So put these things on the calendar, make it happen. And I'm so excited to see how this changes the dynamic in your family. And perhaps if there's different behaviors that you didn't particularly like in your children, notice if there are changes that happen as a result, especially of the one-on-one time. I think you're going to see amazing things come out of it. And I think you might see some of the joys that you are looking for in each day might come from these times. And I would not be surprised at all if you start looking forward to them because I know I do with my kids. It is really, really fun just to see the different personalities and be able to live in their world, even if it's for 10 minutes. The timer might run out, and because I would recommend setting a timer, especially in the beginning, um, because people are not going to want it to end. But you do have a boundary, and you want to give that focused, uninterrupted time. And when it drags on, that might not happen. And there's going to be a next time. This is also part of dealing with it of this is what we've decided. We are going to stick with it. If you want to go over a little bit and you're both okay with it, go for it. But it's also okay to say, this was the set time. We'll do it again. Think about what you want to do next time. And it'll get easier and easier because there will be a next time. You are going to follow through on that next time. It is going to be consistent. And it is going to be so, so life changing. I know it. And I want you to tell me what happens because I'm looking forward to hearing all the fabulous stories that you bring. And if it is hard, I want to hear that too, because you will notice that it gets better. Even if it's hard, you need to stick with it. You know, I'm going to tell you that, right? You are going to commit and you are going to do this and you are going to reap the benefits. Remember, be an action taker. And tomorrow we're wrapping this all up. And remember, notice in whatever you're doing, just notice whether it's hard, whether it's good. Noticing and then shifting is where the magic happens, right? All right, friends, I will see you tomorrow.